Hi guys, I'm Niels. Welcome to another little episode of my Logic tips. The last couple of weeks I talked about drums and how I clean them up a little bit. Today I want to show you a little bit of a drum treatment, just go through how I mixed the drums just to give you a certain idea. Every drum track is different, so you can't really use you gotta really go over the drums, what they sound like and everything. But I'll show you certain ideas that might be helpful, get you started in a certain direction. So check out this drum track like here. What do we have? We have, I already organized it. Got my kick drum that I already tightened up. Remember from last week, for a couple weeks ago I guess it was. I like cutting up the kick, get rid of the extra, the snare hits in between. Yeah. Go back here. Already done that. If you don't know how to do that, check the episode that earlier and you see how to do all that. We got snare. We got a hi-hat track, overheads, right, a room mic and toms. Let me just start at the top. So how did I treat these kick drums? Really not much on there. There's two kick drum mics. First left like that. Well, I have some on the some here. Quite a bit of treatment actually, yeah. I want to hear what this mic sounds like. One of my favorite plugins is the Neutron. And I gave it a little sub boost. Yeah, it sounds kind of anemic. Give a little oomph to this, but I'm also adding a compressor. You see a little 3-band compressor. And mainly the transient shapers makes a big difference. It gives it that attack, kind of like it makes it more defined, because this mic is more like the top part. It catches the top parts, the little click of the kick drum that comes about, another little compressor on it. So that's the treatment here of the kicks. Then they come back together. Both kick mics feed into this Bus 11 kick channel, where I then add a Neve EQ on it. It's a Neve emulation of the 73, raise around 60 Hertz. That's a good frequency for the kick. That's the chest thing. And that's really, and I added a little high end. And also another Neutron, ducking out a certain frequency here, a little bit more transient shaper and compressor and equalizing. Good. So that's a nice, clean, solid kick. Snare, what would I do on the snare? Yeah, here I did not cut that up because I wanted that ghosting sound in between. Again, snare has two mics, top mic, bottom mic. We solo the mics. Turns off. Turn everything off just so we can hear it. Yeah, add a little high end and then boost it around 200 Hertz. That's kind of like where the snare likes to sit. Added some compression. That's really all I did. Didn't do anything here. Oh, it's too much. I know I didn't like that. Then see what I added here. 4. It's a little room reverb. Let's look. I used that. A short snare reverb from the Chris Lord Algae collection from Waves. Sometimes I use this guy. It's nice too. Soft Tube, the RC24. It's a nice emulation of that old Lexicon reverb. And I like the little drum. And I have these always laid out and see which ones I like better for this song. I opted for that one. What is 18? That's a little plate. Also added some plate reverb. I used the Soundtoys Super Plate. Nice. And then here I added Boss 24. It's a side snare track. So what that is, I'm feeding a dry snare top sound back into the overall mix. And it's usually pretty heavily compressed. Yeah. So this way I just thicken up the snares with that. But here the whole drums. See how the snares kind of lost a little bit. There's a lot of reverb on there. Here and I can really find the point because this is a totally dry signal. I'm mixing back in. It's a very dense, compressed signal. Keeps the snare nice and tight. All right, let's move on. Hi-hat. Added some high end. Let me see what it. I see there's a lot of snare on this hi-hat track. Well, right now we're doing cymbals, so without the EQ. So it really had to search for the right frequencies. And the way to do it is that I set kind of like a narrow band and then sweep. See if there's something about 45. And down here. And the 45 I catch with this guy. This I kind of really zoom into the roll off the low end. I put a compressor on there with a fast attack and a quick release. That gets kind of ducks down the snare. Because the snare was louder than the hi-hat. Alright, so that's my snare treatment. Also give it a little bit of the room reverb that's. Now my overheads. Let's listen to what we got here. Yeah, very low, much bass sound, even bassy sounding. A lot of the stuff that I rather get from the kick and the snare mics myself. I do need it for the cymbals mainly because it's the only mics that pick up the cymbals. Right cymbal overhead crashes, so. I didn't really do anything with the SSL, I see. Just for volume. I use the Neutron, yeah, sometimes I do that. I love the Neutron stuff that's from iZotope. And what I do a lot of times, I just go and maybe look my presets, drum bus, and just listen and find one that's close to what I like and then start tweaking it. Here I remember See this frequency? That's that bass frequency, but that's why the kick drum had that duck there too. Let me disable it. And there you can really hear, bring it up a little bit, so. Boom, boom, boom. There's some resonance there that comes from the kick, and I wanted to get rid of that. So I found that frequency, and I'm just ducking it down. Enable it. Much nicer sound. And also gave it a little bit of that extra room sound to match the snare. Right cymbal. What do we do here? Well, we really have the right, it's kind of happened. There it is. Rolled off a little low end, and yeah, and added some high 8K and 4K. That's really all I did. But what I should have done, all right, here we go. Now I have a room reverb, 3 microphones. That's that actual drum room. Let me see what it sounds like. Oh, it's a good sounding room, except I have that little woo. Oh, I was really radical on this one. That's better. And you see what I did here is I did not, oh, I know, that's why I had 2. And one is permanent and the other one is a trigger. This EQ right here gets triggered by bus 28, which I would suspect. No, it doesn't. It gets internally. I was setting this up and then I didn't do it. But what I would do is like the kick drum is bus 11. Right? Both my kick mics go into bus 11, which is my main kick channel. So if I use this as a sidechain input, not input 11, well, I'm doing bus 11. There you go. Now I can have that kick signal trigger here this EQ, and I'm going to make, for that I'm going to make it dynamic and react to, I turned it off by accident. What am I doing here? Dynamic and sidechain enabled, and go to external. Full signal is fine. So now so this way, this overall curve is going to react to the kick signal. It's called dynamic EQing. So, and let's see how that all fits together. Oh, my toms. Let me see what we have. Toms, I already cleaned them out, which means I cut out all the other unnecessary stuff from the drum, trimmed it down so it's nice and clean. That sounds good. Yeah. wrong. I opened up the wrong one. I don't have a neutron on there. It's just a compressor. How much sugar? Not really compressing, hitting it much. They're pretty soft. I can bring them up a little. Let me see. Get a little bit more radical here with the compressor. So just bring the volume down just a tad, and I think we're good. I'm also applying to the toms. That's what confused me. The same room, the number 4 reverb, also 18. What is 18? Oh, that's my plate. I'm trying not to use a different reverb for each instrument on the drums, otherwise it sounds unnatural. So if I settle for a couple, I usually leave it. Sometimes I put like a hall reverb on the toms, and yeah, but that's basically it. Now if I fold these all up, you see I got these nice little segments of drums that enables me to balance them right. Let's start with the high. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Now here I get more room from the overhead than from the room mic. The room mics a lot of times kind of messes it up a little bit, but it's not bad here. Now I can really feel it in the room. I'm thinking I'm sitting in front of a drummer. Actually, I had to hide it. Let me hit it right. All right, these sound pretty good. Yeah. And then on the overall drums, I also put a little bus compressor, SSL bus compressor. Everybody loves this one. This is like, oh, I love this guy. It kind of tightens up the whole sound. Check it out. Without. It just makes it a little tighter. These are all subtle differences that you might not notice when you know, the differences are subtle, but they add up, and within the mix, these subtle differences make at the end a huge difference. And you know, basically gets rid of conflicts and all kinds of stuff with other instruments. So you want to have it clean and tight. Again, it depends on the style of music you're doing, of course. But this is just a general idea how I lay out my drums, what I do with it. I have also like an ozone here. It's a bus compressor on the overall mix. Again, it's another overall treatment. There's a little EQ on there. Let me see. Some dynamics, multi-band compression, and a maximizer. Not very subtle, but I rather, if I use multiple compressors, I like to use them little rather than going really heavy on a compressor. Like the only compressor that will really make work is the one here on the snare side channel, where I want to compress quite a bit. Everything else, I just like make sure these compressors react. Let me check this out, see. Yeah. This is how you can destroy a mic if you overcompress this. This sounds pretty good to me. Anyway, so these are some tips, give you maybe certain ideas what to listen for and how to lay out and set up a drum mix. All right, Neil's out. I'll see you guys next time with some more Logic ideas. Please subscribe to this channel. Also check out my Logic series, how to use Logic for live backing tracks, and more to come. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Peace.